Is it just me, or like, am I the only one getting upset vibes from tomorrow night's main event? I mean, look, I'm picking Aljamain Sterling. I think he's gonna win, and more than likely he is going to win. But there's a good reason why the opposite just might happen. Why we might be seeing an upset. I mean, all signs are sort of pointing towards one. Because just think about it. A lot of people are writing off Sean O'Malley like he has no chance, and they're saying that Aljo's just gonna go out there, grab him, take him down, and sub him in the first or second, which could happen, probably will happen. But I feel like with the amount of people assuming that that is going to happen, that they're gonna jinx it, and then it doesn't end up happening. And I mean, O'Malley's dangerous, man. He's better than people think. He's better than people give him credit for. We saw how he held his own against Peter Yan. I thought he lost that fight, but he showed that he belongs. And I feel like from that performance, he's only going to improve. And up against someone like Aljo, he's only going to level up, especially with his grappling. And he already has that striking and power threat on Sterling. So there's a great chance that he might knock Sterling out. There's a great chance that he might be able to defend the takedowns or keep enough distance to where Aljo can't shoot, or maybe he counters the takedowns. But here's another factor I want to point out as to why an upset might happen. Because right now, we're seeing a lot of Aljamain Sterling GOAT talks surrounding this fight. People regarding him as the greatest of all time, or saying that if he, beats O'Malley, he's the GOAT because then he'll have 4 defenses. And people are, comparing him to Dominic Cruz in the GOAT convo. And usually when this happens, that's when we see an upset. That's when we see a long reigning champion lose. Whenever somebody tries to surpass the GOAT of their division, or the GOAT overall, even if it's not of their era, something always gets in the way. UFC 217, Joanna Jędrzejczyk tried to tie Ronda Rousey's title defense record when Ronda had a defense record of 6 defenses, right? 6 defenses, and then she ended up losing her belt to Rose after 5 defenses, had that spoiled. Something similar happened to Nunes, even though she's greater than Rousey. After 5 defenses, she lost her belt to Pena and didn't get 6 consecutive defenses. And then also Kamaru Usman and Tyron Woodley as well. Both guys were compared to George St. Pierre, being called the greatest welterweights of all time. And look what happened to Woodley when he was being compared to GSP, and he had his final title defense over Till, and people were regarding him as the GOAT. He ends up losing the belt to Usman, and then the same happened to Usman. He defended his belt 5 times. People were comparing him to GSP, almost putting him above GSP, and then bang, headshot dead. Leon Edwards just absolutely changes everything with one head kick. And also, speaking of Usman had a chance to tie Silva for the longest win streak in UFC history. 16 consecutive wins. And again, that got spoiled. And then similar thing happened to Israel Adesanya. He had a chance to tie Anderson Silva for longest win streak in middleweight history at 13. And he didn't survive the 5th round against Poatan. And now he's permanently second to Anderson Silva. Couldn't tie Anderson Silva. And people were calling Max Holloway the featherweight GOAT, either comparing him to Jose Aldo or putting him over Jose Aldo. Joe Rogan was saying, oh yeah, Max Holloway is the greatest featherweight of all time, greater than Jose Aldo. He loses the belt to Alexander Volkanovski now. Who knows? Volk might catch up to Aldo. But yeah, that happened to Max Holloway. He ends up losing. So I feel like there's sort of this like kind of GOAT curse that happens where a fighter gets regarded as the greatest of all time and compared to a fighter of the past era who was considered the GOAT. And then they end up losing before they have any chance of surpassing that other fighter before them's legacy. They get that ends up getting ruined. So I'm just saying this might happen to Aljamain Sterling. People are calling him the greatest bantamweight of all time or close to the greatest bantamweight of all time. We might just see Sean O'Malley spoil that. And then all those GOAT talks of Aljo go out the window. And I mean, just sort of viewing the face-off and the weigh-ins, I'm kind of getting like, UFC 217 vibes. Because remember when Joanna was, doing all this barking in Rose's face and she was all loud talking all this crap and Rose was just stoic and silent. And then we saw what happened the next day. Knocked her out. And Sean O'Malley's been real quiet, real stoic, and Aljo's been real loud. And I don't know, the quiet ones are usually the ones who end up pulling off something crazy, and the ones who talk the most usually end up getting destroyed. And all in all, man, O'Malley's just heavily overlooked. I mean, the whole talk about this fight is how Aljo's the GOAT, and he's just going to run through O'Malley and then move up and get his fight with Volkanovski. But what if that doesn't happen? That can all be completely spoiled, you know what I mean? And another thing to consider, Aljamain Sterling cuts a lot of weight. I know he's had a healthy weight cut by the looks of it, but I mean, quick turnaround, hasn't had a lot of time to recover from the Cejudo fight, so who knows? This could be in O'Malley's favor. Aljamain Sterling turning around in 3 months. He said that he might not be ready, but he's taking this fight anyway. What if he did have a rough weight cut low-key? What if he is coming in this fight a bit banged up? That could be beneficial to Sean O'Malley. However, I still think Sterling's going to win because he's a horrible matchup for Sean. Yeah, he should win this fight, but we shall see. You never know. It's MMA. Anything can happen. But let me know what you guys think in the comments.